Hello, and I am currently about 15 minutes late, but in being so is also giving me an incredible way to start out this training. So we are talking about our beliefs and how it affects our body. And I really want to address this on an energy level. Um, and show you how amazingly cool this is and the power and control that you have over being able to basically alter your reality. So, let's talk about this example of me going through whatever it is that I'm going through that's making me late to this. So, it actually was, I went to sit down. I've got my lovely, beautiful cup of coffee, which is from one of our local roasters, and it is so good. So it's a new flavor. I come in here and I'm like all ready to go, and I'm comfy, cozy. It's really cold outside. And then I sit down and I do the little shake of the mouse, and I can't get my screens to come up. And so then I'm like, well, this is cool. And I have about 5 minutes at that point, but the problem is I got to shut my entire computer down and it takes forever to start back up. I probably need a new one, but I'm one of those people that I'm like, no, it's still working, right? I'm not going to get a new one. It's still working, but it takes forever for it to start back up. So I'm just like patiently waiting here. And as I'm thinking about this, I'm like, heaven forbid, I am not going to allow myself to start getting anxious and start freaking out that I'm not going live on time. And I thought, well, this goes right into what I'm talking about. So, perfection. First of all, if you haven't, please do me a favor. If you like my content, I appreciate it if you subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you share any of my videos and comments and tag me in them, I will love you forevermore. It helps me grow. It helps me expand. It helps me get my message out to more people. So I truly do appreciate it if you do that. Okay, let me also pull up my chat because there we go. Hello. Hi. Yes, you have been married and changed your name. Well, welcome. I can only see you on here as Dragon Lady, and so I'm not even 100% um sure who you are, but um obviously I probably do know who you are, but just so you know, that's what it's showing up as me. So if I'm not addressing you as on a personal basis, that's because that's all I can see. Because I'm streaming live off of my streaming service, I can't see all your names depending on where you're popping up and where you're chatting from. So, like, if you come in, April, hello. Yes, very much so. Know who you are. When it used to be on here all the time when I was doing sock at 2 a.m. in the mornings. But so, like, if you're on Facebook and you start chatting, it just tells me your name is Facebook user. So it's really annoying, but it allows me to stream. So we're going to talk about energy and um, how your beliefs affect your body. And honestly, your beliefs are affecting your physical health. So, a couple things. So, I got to go to a fantastic doctor appointment today, not because anything is wrong with me, but because I am um, a lovely 42 years old. And it's not my birthday either. This is just like a normal, hello, Amber, welcome. It was just a normal um, little go, get my blood drawn, check my cholesterol, all that jazz. And just for my little my little yearly physical type thing. So basically I'm in there and my doctor's asking me all this stuff, and you get, the normal, you get your blood drawn, you get your blood pressure taken. I'm in there getting weighed. I mean, I'm not concerned about anything. I weigh exactly the same that I did a year ago. So, I was like, hey, I call that a win. At first, he was like, why are you losing so much weight? I'm like, no, you need to go back a year before then. That's when I weighed more. And I'm now maintaining a weight. And he's like, oh, okay, good. You know, you're at a healthy weight, so you don't need to be losing weight. I'm like, yes. Okay, great. This is where I'm happy. This is where I've maintained. So great there. Takes my blood pressure. I'm not really like super, you know, hip on blood pressure. So this may not make, I think it was like 111/73. I think. Does that sound legit? Anyways, he was like, oh, your blood pressure is fantastic. I'm like, go, okay, good. You know, do the whole like, I told Dave it was pissing me off because he was asking me so many questions. And I like the part of me that's just the snappiness is like, it's none of your business. And then I'm like, Amy, he's your doctor. He's your physician. Like he's asking you because that's his job. But, you know, I'm like, it's none of your business how often I exercise. But anyways, um, I just laugh because like my inner communication with myself as I'm there is like so off the wall. But anyways, so I get my blood drawn just so we can check all that jazz. But he's like, so you don't have anything going on? And I was like, nope. And it's almost like he needed or wanted something. And you know, I'm like, this is the problem with us. I fill out this paper before I even get there, right? About if I've ever had anything before, if it's genetics, like does my parents suffering from any of these, or my grandparents suffering from any of these, then I understand like the purpose of this. But I'm like, man, you literally come in here and you're just like predisposed to having something wrong with you. I'm like, no, I don't have anything wrong with me. And he's like, well, you know, you are this age, and so you should be blah, 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 blah. And I was like, hello, belief system, right? What do you think happens if I believe that my eyesight starts to severely plummet? Let's just say that he gives me some, and this is a made up statistic, so don't quote me on this, but let's say hypothetically that I'm sitting there and my doctor's like, oh, did you know at age 42, you're 65 percent, there's a 65% chance that your eyesight will deteriorate immensely in the next 12 months. You guys, what do you think that does to you? Your subconscious hears that. You have a connection between a doctor because you've been taught all your life that a medical professional is a medical professional and they're, you know, the expert in their field. So when an expert tells you something and your subconscious hears it, you align with that because it's a belief for you. And so whatever we think becomes our belief. So of course, you know, I'm just not into it. So I'm like, nope. I'm like, I'm 42. There is nothing wrong with me. I'm happy and I'm healthy and I'm living an amazing life. And I could tell he was like, okay. And I mean, I understand, like, I'm probably not, you know, the norm. And for that, I am thankful and grateful and blessed. But I'm not going to also say, like, I do a lot to keep myself at this space, and a lot of that is managing my anxiety and managing my stress. And so that rolls into this next one. I had an issue this morning and I could tell that I was getting very irritated, very agitated. I was very overwhelmed. Um, I have been dealing with a lot of stuff at my job that I do during the day. If you guys haven't followed me very long, so I have a corporate job as well over quality of some super amazing products that all of you eat. And I was really irritated because I've gotten phone calls for the past 2 nights in like the middle of the night over things that are probably not a big deal. So I'm kind of like knowing, right? I know that my triggers are being hit because I'm tired. I had lots of other things that I needed to do. And because of things that were happening, I wasn't able to get that stuff done. So I went into a meeting and I knew, right? And I didn't want to project my frustration on anyone else. And so instead of confronting someone, I actually said, and I'm just honest, right? I'm like, so I need to not talk about this right now because I'm really irritated with it. And so let's talk about it later. And that's just the honesty of it, right? And then hopefully the person that I'm communicating with doesn't have the ooey gooey squishy of, oh my gosh, she doesn't want to talk, right? I was like, no, I'm really overwhelmed with what I have to deal with at the moment, and I need some time to sort through it before we can have a healthy discussion on what's happening. And so being aware of, I don't want to allow myself to get into that space, because if I do and I start getting defensive, I'm naturally a battler. And my mom has always said, like, you show up with your armor on, even if someone is not trying to attack you. And that is 100% true, because I have a belief that I have to protect myself because I have been hurt so much in my life. And it took me a long time to put that armor down. So here's another one. I realized something that I was doing today that I will share with you that is almost like a wow, you know. It's really self-reflecting at a really deep level. But I went to the grocery store and I was like, that's a hard place for me to be anyways, because I'm not really great at being out in public. It's really difficult for me. I have to really protect my energy as far as feeling like I'm just absorbing everybody's stuff. But I realized that I was doing something, and it was very eye-opening to me. And I was like, I'm going to share this, even though it makes me kind of look like a jerk. But I really was doing this. So as I'm walking around shopping, I'm like, why does it bother me so much to be in here? Like, why do I have it in my head that everyone is looking at me and judging me? And so I had a moment with myself and I was like, I really want you to answer that question instead of giving the, I don't know, right? You do know. You do know. You just don't want to look at it. And so as I'm walking around the bread aisle, I'm like, okay, I really want to know this. Why does it bother me so much to be in this store right now? Why do I have it in my head that people are talking about me? And the answer popped right up. And I was like, wow, I talk about this stuff all the time, but wow, guess what came to me? It's because I was judging everybody else. I realized that after I heard that impression come, I was like, am I? And then I'm like, no, I am. I'm looking around. I wouldn't say necessarily having like super mean thoughts about other people, as far as like looking at someone saying, something very cruel. But I definitely was looking at other people and like even thinking about like how old they were, or just little things. But it was still a reflection to me that I was doing that to everyone else. Like, I was looking at other people and wondering or thinking, or you know letting my mind sort of go to places that was in a sense a little bit judgmental. And I was like, whoa. I'm like, so I tried something. I thought to myself, okay, stop paying attention to everybody else and don't worry about anybody else that's in the store right now. I don't even want you to look at anyone. I want you to only focus on you and only be worried about what you're doing. And it was immediate, the amount of anxiety that left my body by simply focusing on myself and not worrying about anybody else around me, not worrying about what they were thinking, not worrying about what they were doing, not worrying about anything. I just like really focused on like, oh, what am I looking for? And I wasn't like, I suddenly just released all this anxiety about thinking that other people were thinking about what I was doing by not thinking about what they were doing. It was incredible. It was really cool, and definitely a like energy exchange going on. Like, I closed myself off from being affected by other people's energy by simply worrying only about what I was doing. And I mean, it makes sense and it's so simple, but yet I was really opening myself up to the energy of other people. But it comes back to like when I was a kid and my mom would be like, worry about yourself. Don't worry about what your siblings are doing. And so it was an immediate way to close that off. And I stopped having this belief that I'm walking around and everybody's talking about me or thinking negatively about me. And when it comes down to it, really, do I care? No, I really don't. But there's a belief in my head that somewhere back in my life, I am aware of someone talking about me, and it obviously was someone that mattered. And so it creates a belief that you think that, oh, people are talking about you. So that's how, you start addressing being aware. Number one, being aware of your beliefs is the first thing to tackling them. Like, why am I feeling like this? Okay. So let me give you another one. When I went to come on here and my computer isn't starting, and I'm like, well, now, hell, I'm like, hello. I said, that sounded like I just swore, but I was actually reading hello. Hello, Miss Amy. It came out as, without the O. So hello. Um, but as I went to come on here, I started catching myself having anxiety because I couldn't get my computer to start up and I was late. And then I thought, okay, what belief is triggering me to feel anxiety right now? We don't want to feel anxiety. There is no reason to feel anxiety because my computer isn't starting and I'm not going live in time. All I'm doing is basically throwing toxins out into my system for fight or flight that's not necessary. There is nothing about my immediate survival that is affected by whether or not my computer starts up and I go live when I said that I was going to. And that's the conversation that I started having with myself. And so I thought, okay, where in the past have I been late for something? And I have been late for something and it's cost me, right? So I've been late for a job. And even thinking about it, it took me a minute to find something where, like, have I really been late for something that's been that traumatic that I really need to be worried about the fact that I'm not going live on time? And so once again, right, looking at my belief system, what's going to happen to me if I don't go live on time? Nothing. Me, are some of you maybe that were like, oh, hey, I was planning on you going live at this time and you didn't? You're still breathing from it. And so just addressing, like, where is this belief coming from that if I'm late, I'm going to be punished, right? Lots of stuff, being late for work, losing my job, being late for school, you know, getting in trouble because I'm not on time, stuff like that. So realizing that, okay, this is not actually connected to anything like that. We're all going to be okay because I was late going live. Here's another one. I loved this because one of my mentors, one of my trainers that I've learned from was talking about his belief of trying new things. And he was like, I used to be totally scared to do things like as far as career goes. And he said, actually, I think he was comparing himself to someone else. Yeah, that's what it was. He was talking about how he was working with a client and they were terrified to make a choice that was going to affect their career, and how for him, his belief system was so much different than theirs because of what he had experienced in his life. And so he was like, for him, it's like, whatever, if this doesn't work, whatever. And the reason is because he spent like 4 years of his life being completely homeless. So he has it in his head, right? He survived all that. So he's like, what's the worst thing that can happen? I'm going to be homeless for a while. Whoopee. Been there, done that. It's not that hard. And so his perspective, right, when trying something new is a lot different because his belief system is based off of, thank you. I love my shirt too, because his belief system is based off of something that's happened to him previously. Whereas if the other person has had an experience where they've lost, I'm so glad that you're on here live too, that they've lost a job, then their belief system attached to making a change with a job is different. So here's some stuff that I jotted down when I was kind of brainstorming this. The reason that we want to be mindful of our beliefs is because our beliefs are affecting our reactions to stuff. And when we are reacting to things and we are reacting with a negative emotion, then it is costing us our health because we are wearing away our cells. So it sounds incredibly simple because it actually really is. And I'm going to throw a link up for you guys right now if you're like, woo, I love this kind of stuff. So I'm going to personally invite you. So this is my higher level group, guys. So this is my higher level group where we talk really deep on this kind of stuff. And if you want to, I'll show you how you can actually remove this type of stuff from your subconscious. But we do 2 additional trainings in this group every month, and we also do group clearings, but it's a little bit more interactive and a little bit more personal, but I go in even more depth. So like last Saturday, I did this really cool thing where I showed them the steps that they can do to really dive into addressing their beliefs and getting rid of them. So it's just a step above. So I'm going to post that for you. It's my little link so you can sign up for my monthly membership for that group. So you get lots of extra little delicious goodies out of it. So, and you can feel free to message me if you have any questions. So just think of this that we're doing now on some additional extra caffeine. There you go. Okay. So, I have to do a set of 3. Like it just, I need to. So here we go. Here's what I want you to do. First of all, recognize that our beliefs create our reality. Okay. And it's okay to admit that sometimes your reality is not correct. And when people are like, yes, how is that possible? You guys, people were running around for a really long time believing that the earth was flat. Okay. So it just goes to show you, and it takes a major shift. Somebody didn't just wake up one morning and convince the entire world that the world wasn't flat anymore. And so remember that your reality is based off of what you believe. And so it's really, really easy to change your reality by changing your belief. Okay. Social thoughts that are formed for you are difficult to change because you have it in your head that there's another belief that actually makes that real for you. And that's simply a belief that people that have whatever, XYZ, an education, people that are on the news, people that post in newspapers, whatever that is for you, that they are the source. They are the resource, the professional. So changing that belief and realizing that even they are not always 100% right. Okay. So life is all about learning to manage the power that you have with your internal systems as far as energy flows go by managing your belief system and creating a reality that works for you. So no different than I was, the reality of me creating, oh my gosh, I'm late. I'm so late for this. Okay, that's based off of a past belief, but really, why does it matter? Why does it matter that I went on my live late? Address it. Wow, I have a computer that I have no control over when it's starting. Is it really worth allowing myself to go into a chemical state of releasing, stress toxins in my body so that I can run away from a lion? No, this is not about survival, right? Sit back, and we used to say this when we were flying. If the airplane isn't on fire, sit back and have a Pop-Tart and a cup of coffee, and then try to address what's going on. And we would joke about that because the reason behind it was you didn't want to do a split second, turn something off that you can't turn back on. So there are certain systems in the airplane that once you turn them off, just because of the way that they work, you can't turn them back on again. And so you don't want to shut something down that you need on accident. Okay, so take a minute, have a Pop-Tart. Consciously creating what's happening for yourself. So which thought forms are you going to control? Take control of them. Consciously create what you're thinking. Because when you are not conscious of what's going on in your head, it controls you. So putting awareness to it. What am I thinking? Why am I thinking that? Where is this belief coming from? Okay. The other thing is, don't try to change everyone else. That's a big one. Worry about changing your own thoughts. Do not try to focus on changing other people's thoughts because you are just going to lose that battle at your own expense. If it was super black and white and really easy to see it, you would never do it again. If I told you, guess what? When you try to force someone into your thought frame, it's going to cost you some of your health. So if you had to hand over a little baggie full of some of your health to try to change someone's belief, you would be a lot different about trying to push people to believe what you're believing. It doesn't matter what they're believing. You change the overall energy of the world by changing yourself. It's called group level consciousness, giving energy to group in the way, in the shape, in the form that you are working on yourself is the way that you create change and add to that. It's not by forcing people's opinions because you're not going to. Okay. Stop using memory guidance. So this is the second one. I love this. Stop using memory guidance. Why do I believe that? It's based off of a memory, right? So are your memories guiding you? They sure do me all the time. Maybe you had a failed business in the past, so you're scared to death to start a business. And so your memory is guiding you. Where is your memory guiding you? That's a good one for tomorrow's journaling, right? I'm going to like make myself a little note here. Where is your memory guiding you? Maybe possibly to some really bad places. Remember, it's just a memory. When it really comes down to it, it's no longer even a reality because it already happened. It's in the past. So live in the present moment. Okay. That's the third thing. Your power is right now in this very present time. And when you get in the present time and you focus on right now, the only thing I can control is this second, which is now just passed. So I can't even control that anymore. When you control the present time, you have the power to burn a memory from yourself. Want me to tell you how to do it? It's really cool. I'll tell you how to do it. Okay. This is something that I would normally share in the other group, but I'm going to tell you how. If you want to burn a memory in the present time, is what you do is when you start having something creep in, you start feeling anxiety, you start feeling traumatic, whatever it is, whatever your little ego likes to feed you. You simply go to a place where you feel ecstatic about being who you are. Now, for a lot of you, that's a really big jump. So that's why I like to say you can also get to this space by finding gratitude. Stop yourself. Be thankful for something. So when I drove to work yesterday, or maybe this morning, I was like, no, it was this morning. You know what I was thinking to myself? How in the world did people used to live? Honestly, they have no conveniences. It's 12 degrees outside. I'm freezing in my technology laced vehicle, wondering how in the world did people used to live without indoor plumbing, without going, they didn't have toilet paper, they didn't have electricity, they didn't have hot water at their fingertips. I'm like, I have nothing to complain about, zip it, because there's nothing to complain about. I do not have to go out in the cold and try to kill a chicken to feed my family. Like, honestly. So get yourself ecstatic about being who you are. What makes you feel that feeling? And if you're like, nothing, then go back in time. Travel back in time to a point in your life where you felt that feeling and let yourself feel it again. I know for myself, going to Disneyland, there's like something really magical about being at Disneyland. So take yourself back into a time when you were at Disneyland and you feel that, and it's exciting. Summer for me, being outside in the warmth, like that makes me feel ecstatic. And the moment that you feel that, you can burn some of that cellular memory away. So try that. And if you're like, I can't do that, okay, I'm going to tell you right now, that's your problem. Okay. Get it out of your head. Get it out of your head. The I can'ts, the shoulda, woulda, coulda, woulda. Like those are eating you alive. Literally. They're making your health deteriorate. So try doing that. Go back to when you feel ecstatic, find something that you feel happy about. When you're feeling excited about, maybe you have something coming up. This one doesn't work well for me because I'm very much a hermit and I really don't do things. So I don't find excitement in thinking, oh, on Saturday, I get to go do this, because that's just not what ticks for me. But something as simple as, ooh, I mean, I'm really easy to get excited. Like, oh, even the fact that I have a new flavor of coffee to try. Like something simple like that really gets me into that space and gets me away. So when I start having a memory and I'm starting to get stuck in it, I think of something that excites me or I think of some gratitude and it breaks it away and you start burning the memories from your cellular space because then you are reprogramming your mind. And when those thoughts start to come up again, it gets a little bit easier. Every time it gets easier and easier and easier to get yourself back into that space where you feel happy and good. And that's what we want. We want to feel happy. We want to feel good. We want to be at the top of our game and not living in misery. Okay, there you go. That's what I'm going to leave you with today. And of course, we are going to oh, I actually had something else. I'm going to save that for next time. I'll go live again at 6 o'clock tonight. And so you can hop on there again. Love to have you join us in our monthly membership group. We get to dive into stuff even at a deeper level. If you've gotten into like NLP stuff, that's where I like to share all of that jazz at. So there you go. Okay, guys, hope you have a beautiful rest of your night, and I will see some of you in just a bit.